First thing I will say is I wouldn't attempt probably coming onto this island without having a full off-road caravan. Ours is a full off-road caravan with self-leveling air suspension, and we have a fair bit of clearance. If you've got a semi-off-road, you might end up dragging it through the sand, causing it to get bogged a lot more often. Yeah, the guys at the ferry put me at the back by myself because they were worried that I was going to get bogged coming off the island. So, yeah, I was more worried about everyone else getting bogged in front of me. Your ferry ride's quite long, so now's an optimum opportunity to down all the air pressures in your caravan and car as you travel over to the island, so you're 100% ready to hit the sand as soon as the barge hits the banks. I talk a little bit about tyre pressures at the end of the video, so stay tuned. If you can, try and plan as many of your trips as possible around the island around the tides, as you will only be able to travel certain parts of the island an hour and a half before high tide and an hour and a half up to an hour and a half after high tide. So while it's during that high time period, you will not be able to access certain areas of the island along the beaches. There will be a fair few beach camping spots that you'll be able to take and be able to park a van in after Banua as you travel up the east coast as well. So this is Banua campsite.
This is the first one as you come off Tangaluma.
So yeah, there's a fair few little campsites up in here. This is your first, you got a couple in here that you'd probably be able to fit a caravan in. But this is the first one that you would come into as you come off the barge from Tangalooma Rex. When the ferry docks, you'll notice that Tangalooma Rex and Tangalooma Resort are on your right hand side. You'll be turning left as the video shows, so make sure that you are turning left and planning your route ahead, as you can't drive around on the beach in front of the Tangalooma Resort. So plan your route to be able to travel the inland tracks and everything around the tides. If you're towing a full-size van, it is beneficial to plan your route out first so this doesn't happen to you. I took a right turn up the wrong track and it was extremely soft and I had to reverse back out. It wasn't necessary to take that bypass track, so you do need to check what the route is. The Cohen bypass, if you're going all the way to the top left hand corner, which is where we stayed, that's the only bypass track up the west coast that you'll actually need to take. Most of the way, if you're around, if there's no really high tides, you should be able to travel most of the way up that west coast beach, just around the Cohen bypass. These inland tracks, while you're towing, aren't too bad. Most of them are fairly high compacted, as there's a lot of traffic on them during the day. A little bit of rain will definitely help the soft sand, so if it has rained, it will be making it beneficial. But we had no problems towing through the inland tracks on the bypass track. After about a 45-minute drive from the ferry, we reached the Comboiro campsite. So you'll see in a second that it is a bit tight to turn in on the left-hand side here. I would probably recommend walking in. This is my van's equivalent to so about 23-foot van, and actually I've got a Ram 2500, so it is a long vehicle of about 15.7 metres long. We just got in on the left-hand side, but you can turn right, do a U-ey up the other side, and you'll get a lot easier around that corner and up onto this path after you've done that U-ey down near the toilet blocks. So if you're coming down, there's this section here. If you've got a caravan, this is the last site that you can actually turn around in with a decent sized caravan. If you go up that way and you keep going to the last lot of campsites, you will not get back. So this is CE20, and there's a few other campsites in this one little turning space. But if E20. Last campsite pretty much for a caravan. Alright, let's get that tinny down to the water. Luckily enough for us, we could fit it in between the walkway to be able to drag it down to the beach. I did have it full of everything, including fuel and everything, so it was a bit of a struggle.
Kookaburras will steal your breakfast straight off your hot plate. Swoop down, steal your bacon.
So here you can see us travelling up some of the inland tracks. This is just up above Bulwar, so it's on our way to the lookout and around the lighthouse at the top of the island. Definitely worth a look. Some of the beautiful inland tracks, and you get a couple of really nice beaches up that way. And this is where we got to see some of the great sea life. Up around the top side of the island, and you can see some of the reefs from the top of the lighthouse, which is beautiful. It's definitely worth bringing your drone if you're heading up that way. Just be a little bit careful of some of the river crossings. I didn't know this was going to be this deep. This is about a metre deep. You can see that my bonnet's about 1.5 metres high on the Ram 2500 on this one, but watching my brother-in-law come back through in exactly the same line, you can see how deep it is. After he knew how deep it was, my sister and the kids got real wet. So a couple of these drone videos you'll see are just off the top of the lighthouse, off the top of the island. We actually saw some sharks and a fair bit of fish life as well, but didn't get them on video on the drone. So definitely worth a drive up to the top of the island. It's probably some of the best part of the island, if you ask me. It worked really well. Benefits of hitting the island up during the middle of winter, it's definitely good to see so many of the whales, as it's part of their migration time of the year as they head north as it starts cooling down in the waters. So we got to see a fair few whales. Really good to see. Yeah, made it back to camp in not too bad a time after a day trip to the top of the island. Enough time to be able to kick back and a couple of beers on the beach as we're watching the sunset. So nice. There was no wind, so it's just a beautiful afternoon up there. You get a fair bit of variety when you're sitting on the west coast of the island. Not a lot of luck with the fishing this night though. Always handy to have recovery gear available ready. We helped this young couple out while they were travelling through. They got stuck in the soft sand, so got to help them on their way. They did really well in the end, so we finally made it down to the Gutter Bar. This place is definitely worth a drive down to. A lot of great atmosphere down along the island on the way down as well. So, and the food's really good down at the Gutter Bar, so worth a drive. These are the sand dunes that you can go sandboarding down. There's absolutely well worth a drive around it, and make sure you plan around tides again, because there's a lot of places that you can't drive around on the high tide down this area. We have to finish up lunch pretty quick, so when you get back up, allowing for those tides to come back in and have plenty of time, so we're not going to be stranded up some of these beaches. So I know I've said it a few times, but planning around the tides is definitely essential. I tell you what, this was just perfect. Sunset, brought our little fire pit down onto the beach, a few beers down on the beach while having a fish. Nothing beats it.
So we've had like 40 mil rain overnight, camper trailer filled full of rain, poor kids' sleeping bags are all wet and everything, and the van's good, We've just got the fire going over the top of got the hot plates over the top of it to protect from the rain, but I'm not sure if you can tell, but it is pissing down still. It was quite heavy last night, but
So we're over the east coast of the island now. So we did a day trip down the east coast, went down to the military battery, and some of the bunkers and stuff like that. You can see down the bottom of the east side beach. This has got a lot more room on this beach than this side. This is the surf side of the island, so you can see how much more beach we've got along here. This is also where we did a lot better fishing. Not too bad. Nice day out driving. The weather was a bit shaky at the start, but we got there and got to see most of the attractions, which was really nice, and still got to do a bit of fishing. So.
Yes! You're joking.
Ready, baby! 10 seconds in. Hold on, mate. That's going to trickle you.
Darren's been fighting this one for a little while. We don't know what it is. Oh, she snapped off! Bugger!
Taylor. Oh, salmon!
This is the happy dance that you do after you've caught all the fish for eating for dinner. We got a flatty and a salmon and a dart, all beautiful eating size.
Alright, let's talk some tide pressures. So when you get onto the barge, they tell you to go to about 16 to 18 PSI. Now this basically is for people that are your standard weights, so your standard four-wheel drives and most of your other basically light vehicles. Now we have around 2500, so this car weighs 5 tonne or more when we're loaded, so we need to make sure that we've got not too much bulge in our tyres. So what we're done is I'm running about 22 PSI in the front of the car, so you can see that There it is. Just a little bit of bulge in the tyre. And in the back, with the van on, with the tinny on the roof, with all the boat fuel and everything like that, we're running just about 28 PSI in the back. So it all come down to how the car was kind of feeling on the beach and how much bulge you got in the side of your tyre, and they change per tyre. So the van itself, because the van's over 3.5 tonne, it's about 3.7 tonne when we brought it over, full of wood, full of fuel. Full of fuel and water and everything like that, and full of food and drinks. We're running about the 18, 19 PSI in the Caravan. It's a little bit higher than what a lot of people would be running. If you were running some of your standard four-wheel drives, you can go down to as low as like your 16 or even 15, 14 PSI on sand, no problem at all if it's really soft. So we had no problem once I took the van off, took the boat off, and took all the boat motor and everything out of the back of the Ram, and we had just the car driving around the island. We were running about 18 PSI, 20 PSI all round on the car after that. But while we're all fully loaded, pretty much 22 on the front, 28 in the back. So yeah, worked really well.
These are the Tangalooma wrecks. When you'll see them a bit when you come off the barge anyway, but we didn't get a chance to snorkel around them, but they were still beautiful to see in person anyway. But next time we go to the island, I reckon we'll have a good chance of having a snorkel around there. It was just a bit cold in the water and around the water, and we're on the island as it was midwinter. So hope you've all enjoyed the video. I hope you got some good useful information out of our time towing our full-time van on the island. Reach out if you got any comments. Thanks guys.